Hello, my dear students. Today we are going to see about plasmolysis. The behavior of the cell is depending upon the surrounding solution. There are three types of solution: isotonic solution, hypertonic solution, and hypertonic solution. Isotonic solution means if the external solution balances the osmotic pressure of the cytoplasm, that external solution is called isotonic solution. If the external solution is more dilute than the cytoplasm, it is said to be hypotonic solution. When the external solution is more concentrated, it is called hypertonic solution. So according to the type of solution, movement of water takes place. When a cell is placed in a hypertonic solution or hypotonic solution or isotonic solution, the behavior of the cell will be different. When the cell is placed in the isotonic solution, no movement of water takes place from in and out of the cell. But at the same time, when the cell is placed in a hypotonic solution, lower concentrated solution, water from outside enter into the cell, that is called endosmosis. At the same time, when the cell is placed in the over concentrated solution, more concentrated solution, that is hypertonic solution, the water which is present inside the cell will come out, will exit from the cell. And at the last, shrinkage of the protoplast takes place. The protoplast means cell membrane, cytoplasm, and nucleus, collectively called protoplast. The protoplast will shrink away from the cell wall and form a spherical mass at the center. And this is called plasmolysis. That process is called plasmolysis. That phenomenon is called plasmolysis. The cell is called plasmolyzed cell. The plasmolysis occurs when the cell is placed in the solution, in the hypertonic solution. See the diagram. The plasmolyzed cell is that. This is the plasmolyzed cell. First one, A is plasmolyzed cell, where the protoplast shrink away from the cell wall. In the B cell, water is coming out from the cell. In the C cell, when the cell is placed in the hypotonic solution, water will move into the cell and that will form the turgid condition of the cell. So that is the things. Water moves out. It is during plasmolysis, what will happen? The water moves out from the cell. The first lost from the cytoplasm, water will move from the cytoplasm, that is the first loss. And then from the vacuole, water will come out. The water, when drawn out of the cell through the diffusion into the extracellular fluid, causes the protoplast to shrink away from the cell wall. Now the cell is to be plasmolyzed cell. The movement of water across the membrane moving from an area of higher concentration, higher water potential, to the area of lower water potential outside the cell. That is given in the figure 11.5. When the cell is placed in the isotonic solution, the water will not move from outside to inner side. Here there is no net flow of water towards the inner side or outer side. If the external solution balances the osmotic pressure of the cytoplasm, it is said to be isotonic. When water flows into the cell and out of the cell and are in equilibrium, the cells are said to be flaccid. So this turgidity and flaccidity condition can be noticed in the stomatal movement. In the mechanism of the movement, what is happening? Each stomata is surrounded by two bean-shaped or kidney-shaped guard cells. Due to endosmosis, when water enters into the guard cell becomes turgid. The turgidity of the guard cell will make the stomata to open. When the osmotic concentration is reduced, automatically the water will move out of the cell. That will make the guard cell flaccid. Flaccidity of the guard cell takes place, so that the stomata will close. When water enters into the cell, due to endosmosis, a pressure is created that is called Turgor pressure. The Turgor pressure pushes the cell membrane, and the cell membrane pushes the cell wall outer side. So that is due to Targar pressure. The Turgor pressure will form when more and more water enter into the cell, and that pressure is created. That pressure is Turgor pressure that is formed in the cytoplasm of the cell. The pressure exerted by the protoplasm due to the entry of water against the rigid wall is called pressure potential. Because of the rigidity of the cell wall, the cell does not rupture. This Turgor pressure is ultimately responsible for the enlargement and extension of growth of the cell. So that is plasmolysis, plasmolyzed cell, etc. If you make pickles means when we are preparing pickles, mango pickles or lemon pickles, we will add more salt. So in the high salt condition, no bacterial growth, no fungal growth will take place. In order to kill the disease-causing microorganism, we make pickles. So that is a process of plasmolysis. In the pickle, in the segments, in the part of the mango or in the part of the lemon, all the water content will be removed by the higher salt concentration that will be taking place by adding salt, more and more salt. That is an example for plasmolysis. Right, next process, imbibition. Imbibition is a special type of diffusion when water is absorbed by solid colloidal substances that causing them to enormously increase in volume. That is imbibition. What is imbibition? It is uptake of water from surrounding medium by certain substances like gum, starch, cellulose, pectic substances, etc. They are considered as hydrophilic substances. Hydrophilic substances are water lovable substances. They, when come in contact with water, they absorb water like a blotting paper which is placed in the water. So that is imbibition. The imbibition is taking place in the windows, wooden windows and wooden doors. Imbibition is absorption of water by seeds and dry wood. The seeds and dry woods When come in contact with water, that will absorb water, because in the seed coat, in the dry wood, pectic substances are there, cellulosic substances are there, starch material is there. They are colloidal substance, they are imbibants. Imbibants will absorb large quantities of water. So, imbibition, the absorption of water by seeds and dry woods are the two examples given for imbibition. The pressure that is produced by the swelling of the wood used by the prehistoric man to split rocks and boulders, that is another example. Due to imbibition, a pressure is created that is called imbibition pressure. Seedlings would not have been able to emerge out of the soil into the open. They probably would not have been able to establish if there is no water available. Imbibition is also a diffusion, since water movement is taking place along a concentration gradient. The seeds and other such materials have almost no water, hence they absorb water easily. Water potential gradient between the absorbent and the liquid method in liquid imbibed is essential for imbibition. In addition, for any substances to imbibe in any liquid, affinity between the absorbent and the liquids is also prerequisite process. Right, come to the long distance transport in water. See, you have studied long distance transport and short distance transport in 11th standard. Short distance transport, when the transport of substances takes place between the two cells nearby or between some of the cells which are present very near to that is the short distance transport. Mainly short distance transport takes place by diffusion, facilitated diffusion, osmosis, etc. But long distance transport means when the substances are transported through xylem or phloem, through the vascular tissues of the plant, which transport substances from root system to the aerial parts of the shoot system, or from leaves to other parts of the plant, that is considered as the long distance transport. Long distance transport is involved in water as well as food materials. That is long distance transport in water and long distance transport in food materials. The long distance transport of water takes place by a vascular tissue, xylem. Xylem is a complex permanent tissue through which water is transported from root system to the aerial parts of the plant. On the other hand, the food materials are the prepared food materials from the leaves are transported to various parts of the plant, to the root or to the buds, to other parts of the plant above. That is the phloem transport of food materials. Long distance transport of food materials by phloem. The long distance transport of water by xylem is a unidirectional one, because the transport of water takes place from root system to other aerial parts of the plant upwardly, that is unidirectional transport. But as far as phloem is concerned, phloem will transport food materials. The leaves are the main site of organs of photosynthesis in which food materials are prepared. From the leaves, the prepared food materials are transported either through the underground part of the root or stem, or the aerial part of the stem to the branches, to the leaves, to the flowers, to the buds, to the terminal part of the plant. So that is the transport of food materials in phloem is a multi-directional. It is a bi-directional one, or you can say, or it is multi-directional one. So that is the transport. The transport of water, minerals and food materials are generally moved by a mass or bulk flow system. Mass flow is the movement of substances in bulk or en mass from one point to another as a result of pressure differences between the 2 points. It is a characteristic of mass flow that substances, whether in solution or in suspension, are whisked away along the xylem or phloem, like that of the flowing river. This is unlike diffusion, where different substances move independently depending on their concentration gradients. Bulk flow can be achieved either through a positive hydrostatic pressure gradient or negative hydrostatic pressure gradient. For positive pressure gradient, example, a garden hose. When we are passing or supplying water to the garden plants by means of garden hose, that is the positive hydrostatic pressure. For negative hydrostatic pressure, the negative hydrostatic pressure gradient, for example, suction through a straw. When we suck any fluid or any sweet drinks by means of straw, that process is considered as the negative hydrostatic pressure gradient. The bulk movement of substances through the conducting or vascular tissues of the plants is called translocation. When the food materials or water are transported or conducted by vascular tissues of the plants, that is called translocation. Say, in the case of plants, xylem and phloem, they are the highly specialized vascular tissue. Xylem is associated with the translocation of mainly water, mineral salts, some organic nitrogen and hormones. So along with the water, these are all the substances are also transported by xylem. What are the substances transported along with the water? One is mineral salts, some organic nitrogen and hormones. They are transported from roots to the aerial parts of the plants. The phloem translocates a variety of organic and inorganic solutes, mainly from the leaves to other parts of the plant. So that is about long distance transport through vascular tissues like xylem and phloem.